Hello and welcome back to a new series of Yorkshire Talks. I'm Matt Jameson.
And I'm Christine Talbot, and together we're meeting a new generation of Yorkshire folk with a different story to tell.
In this series, we'll be chatting to different folk, finding out what makes them tick and why it's so important coming from God's own country. We're delighted that this episode is sponsored by patient.info, one of the UK's leading independent health information websites.
Yes, with trusted, health-based information written by industry professionals. Patient.info helps millions of people every month make informed decisions about their health and well-being.
So for reliable information, resources and tools, why not visit patient.info?
It's a great app. I have it.
Do you?
Yeah, I have it.
Brilliant.
And apparently 12 million people a month go on patient.info.
That's incredible. What is the last thing you asked them for?
Well,
Can you say?
Well,
on
Thomas,
here?
who is with us today from Patient.info, did tell me that most people go on to find out how to stop drinking.
Oh, really?
And I have to say, maybe that's what I did. How to drink less. Not that I drink a lot, but I did.
Oh, you're painting a picture here, Christine.
How to cut down on alcohol.
Well, I'm on sober for October at the moment. So, yeah, I've done. We're nearly at the end of October, so it's 4 weeks today.
As we're recording. By the time this goes out, you might be back on it.
Big style.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to this week? What's been going on?
A busy few days. I actually hosted the Danny Jones defibrillator ball for my friend Lizzie Jones, who you may know, and I went to the Yorkshire Royal Television Society Awards.
Oh, fantastic.
That was a great night. Met lots of my old friends there, so had a good time. What about you?
So last week I was at the Hollyoaks 30th anniversary bash, which was brilliant. I saw some friends of mine, because I've got a few friends that are in Hollyoaks, so I know Jenny McCarthy really well. I went to school with Jenny, and also Chelsea Healy as well.
He knows all.
And Duncan as well.
Duncan, who's Duncan?
Duncan James from Blue.
Oh, Duncan James. Oh, yeah, is he in Hollyoaks?
Yeah, well, he was. He's not in it anymore.
Right.
But we got to see the whole week of episodes, so I knew what was going to happen, who was going to die.
You had to watch a lot of people. Week of episodes.
Yeah. We sat there watching it. A lot of people died. Okay.
It's a long night.
Yeah, it was. But it was fun. It was a party afterwards.
Okay.
And it was a free bar, and I wasn't drinking.
Oh, you were desperate to get to the party bit, weren't you? After seeing a lot of people dying in a long, long time watching telly. Anyway, I think it's time that we introduced our guest today.
Yes.
Yeah. And anybody who watches breakfast telly in the morning may wake up to his lovely, warm, affable nature and smiling face, because he's one of the country's best known telly GPs.
Yeah, he's probably the most famous GP, I think, in the country at the moment, imparts on his medical knowledge with warmth, making even complex health topics easy to understand on programmes like Lorraine, which you go on quite a lot.
Yeah, he's a Bradford-born lad, and he still works as a proper GP 3 days a week. I don't know how he managed to juggle his busy life, but he's also a great advocate of nature and the countryside, and he loves to cook as well. So let's find out a little bit more about Dr Amir Khan.
Oh, thanks. I'm loving that intro. That's really nice. I wish my mum was here to hear it.
Oh.
I mean, she's not dead. She's just not here.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know.
She can always watch it back.
She can, yes.
Exactly.
You really probably are one of the busiest people I know, on television, because not only on telly, you work as a doctor, you also have a big social media presence. How do you manage to juggle all the balls?
Yeah, it's really like, I know it comes across that I'm really busy, and I am, but the things that I'm doing are all, I mean, certainly the GP work, because I've been doing that for, I think I've been a GP now for coming up to 15 years. So it feels like second nature to me. And I've been at that same practice for most of that time. So I know those patients really well. And I grew up in that area as well. So I can go there, and even though it's busy and it can be challenging, it's what I'm trained to do. So it doesn't feel like I need to, it sounds really weird. I don't need to engage my brain too much, because I go into autopilot when I'm there. And then everything else, the TV stuff, is starting to feel a little bit more natural now. I still get nervous, but yeah, it is challenging. And I am, I know this sounds crazy. I actually don't have a written diary. Everything is here, which is why I was so hard to pin down for this.
Oh.
How do you do? I'm at that point now where everything has to go in my phone.
Yeah,
everything is
I can't explain it. People buy me diaries for birthdays, Christmas, because they know how disorganized I am, and I just can't engage with them. So everything is just like, I think I'm free that day. So they say, I am my agent's worst nightmare. I am.
Well, does anybody actually do that for you? Do they say, look, Amir, you've got to be there at that time?
So I'm really lucky. I've got a brilliant agent who will WhatsApp me like 3 days before, 2 days before, 1 day before. So I know it's coming. But I know it sounds awful, but it's worked for me this far. And so I'm just going to continue with it.
Do you have like set days then that you're working in the GP?
Yeah. So I'm at the surgery Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
And I'm on Lorraine and GMB Tuesdays and Fridays. So those days are kind of set. So I just work around that.
Okay.
And they're really flexible with me as well. If they need me through the week, they'll let me do it from the surgery. So that's really handy as well.
Brilliant. And how much fun is it? I mean, I would love to meet Lorraine. I've never met Lorraine. I bet she's a right hoot. I can just imagine.
She is exactly, I mean, she's amazing. She's exactly how you see her on TV, except in real life, she's a lot more swearier. And I love that. I love it. Yeah. Because she's Scottish, isn't she?
Yeah.
So
I can imagine. I can imagine that.
I'm
definitely.
shocked. I am shocked.
Are you shocked?
So were you, Christine? I mean, I've heard you swear a few times.
She's Glaswegian, of course.
Yeah.
And she introduced me to a Glaswegian kiss. I had no idea what that was until she
Tell
told
me
me.
what a Glaswegian kiss is.
It's a headbutt.
Headbutt in the face.
She hasn't done it to me. But she's threatened me with it. No, she hasn't. She hasn't.
It's a nut in your head.
Yeah.
Not in your head, yeah. You don't, if someone offers you that, Christine, just say no.
I definitely will say no. I will say no. I'd be like, so I offer like my cheek and then I get a nut on the head.
Yeah. Oh, not what you think.
Well, I mean, it's lovely because really through your social media as well, you've got a huge following and a lot of people really love to engage with you. But we've also learned a little bit about your life. At home, you say you were brought up in Bradford. You're part of a very big, close-knit family, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I've got my mum, Mama Khan, which she goes by. And actually, like people call her that. We call her that as well. And I've got 6 sisters, no brothers. So I'm one of 7.
Where do you come in the lineup?
I've got 5 older sisters, then me, and then I think my mum and dad thought, well, let's try again. And
as you do when you've got 6 kids.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, not happy with this boy. Let's have a try for another one." But they had got a girl. So I'm kind of towards the younger end of it, but which is great actually, because like everybody asked me, like, do you ever wish you had a brother? And I did growing up, but now I don't so much. I've got loads of brother-in-laws, which is really nice. And the question I get asked a lot is, was I spoiled as well as the only boy? And really, I don't think I was. And my mum says absolutely not, because she's like the ultimate feminist. Like back in the 80s, she was like saying, boys got to do the same thing. All my daughters are going to do whatever they wanted to, go off to university and whatever they wanted, which was quite radical for a Muslim woman in the 80s coming over here from Pakistan. And at the same time, she was like, Amir, do the washing up and mop the floor and all of that stuff as well, which is
great. That's really good.
It's really put me in good stead for now, because like I just know how to cook and clean. It's really handy.
Well, what was it like having so many sisters? Were you like the baby of the family? Were you mothered by all of them?
Well, because my mum was working, she was a social worker. Like my elder sisters would have to look after us while she was at work and on holidays and stuff like that. I think that the worst thing about it is the hand-me-downs. So as the only boy, like you never think about it. And I didn't even realise. So my mum used to put me in woolly tights, my sister's woolly tights underneath my trousers in the winter. I just thought it was normal. And I'd go to school. And then in PE, I was like getting changed, and everybody was like, "Why are you wearing woolly tights?" I'm like, "Well, why are you not wearing woolly tights?"
You were setting the trend. You were setting the trend.
So the hand-me-downs was like just did not work for me.
You didn't have to wear any frilly dresses or anything like that.
No, but there was a lot of like crop tops and.
I need to see photos.
I know, yeah, we need evidence of this.
Yeah, so she was just wear it, and I was like, okay, fine. But no, there was no overly mothering. I think my elder sister's got a bit overwhelmed with having to look after us all the time. But that's just part of being part of a big family, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And it was really nice, you know. And I had to share a room up till I was about 10 with 2 of my sisters. So so like we're all really close now.
Yeah.
It worked. In hindsight, you know, when I think about it now, I'm just like, no one would ever do that now. But at the time, it just was completely normal.
Yeah, and I love it when you do things. You're always doing family dances, aren't you, on social media, which I love watching.
Yeah, well, we grew up on Bollywood. Like every Friday night, we'd go round to like the dodgy Asian video store in Frizinghall in Bradford.
Why was it dodgy?
Well, none of those videos were legit. So they were like recorded off a big screen, and then we'd and then we'd just watch Bollywood, and because my sisters were so into it was my sisters and my mum, and they would like do the dances, they'd learn the songs, and so it was just part of what we did on the weekends and stuff. So. Yeah, so now we've kind of passed that on. And also, when you've got 6 sisters, you've got like 6 huge weddings to sort out as well. And like these are huge affairs where, especially my eldest 2 or 3 sisters, they were like tyrants for their weddings because they were like making sure we had these full-on dance routines. I had to do with 2 of my sister just above me and my sister just below me, like a trio of a set routine. And like, if you got one step wrong, like you were in big trouble. So these videos of me through the ages doing these like extravagant Bollywood routines with my sisters as my backing dancers.
I love that.
But they will never see the light of day because they are worse than the woolly tights, I think.
You need to post those on socials. People would love it.
Like there's some of our family friends come up to me and go, do you remember when you danced to that Sneak song at our wedding? I was like, don't ever talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's so funny. What about your dad? Where does he fit into this family?
Well, sadly, my dad's passed away. And he passed away when we were quite young. He was a bus driver and he was working shifts a lot of the time. So we didn't really spend that much time with him if I think about it. But I remember when, because some of his bus routes went past the house. And the main thing I remember was my mum preparing dinner, putting it all in Tupperware and saying, run to the bus stop when he gets there. Like we had to run and hand him over this food. And then he'd drive off. But he was brilliant for whenever you wanted to get anywhere, he'd tell you exactly which bus went there. So he was really handy for that. But sadly, he had heart problems. And he passed away.
I'm so sorry to hear.
That's okay. It was many years ago now. But, you know, he was a good dad. But he worked really hard, like, as a lot of people did. So I think that was his main gift to us, which was, you know, he brought my mum over here. We grew up here. He worked hard to establish us as a family here. So yeah, very, very grateful for him.
And obviously the work ethic. I mean, is that where it was ingrained with your family, really? Because did you always want to go into medicine?
No, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I really, as you know, I like animals. So I wanted to be a vet. And so I think my mum just kind of entertained that idea because she realised that it's the same subjects to get into medicine, so just let him study what he needs to study. And then it's Shipley Vets, because we grew up, we moved from BD3, Whalley Drive, to Shipley when I was about 11. And so I got work experience at the vet in Shipley. I can catheterize a hamster, by the way. I can.
Very useful.
A hamster?
Tiny bladder. So, which was great because when I was catheterizing people, it was just like, I can throw them in now. So, but...
much bigger, yeah.
Much bigger. But anyway, I forgot what the question... No,
I've just got images of this now.
Yeah, you wanted to be a vet, not a doctor.
Yes.
What I realised very early on into that work experience was I'm not very good with sick animals. Like I can't cope with this, you know, like the sadness of it. And so, which sounds really weird because I can cope with the sadness of sick people because you can talk to them, you can understand them a little bit more and cope with it. Anyway, when it came to applications to university, and I was like, right, 'cause there's only a few places that do veterinary medicine. So I was like, right, Mum, I'm going to put these down. And she just like laughed at me. She went, no, you're not doing veterinary medicine. And I was like, what do you mean, Mum? And then she explained to me that. And she did get it, that I wasn't so good with, because I used to come home like really upset when like we had to put an animal down or anything. She was like, you're just not good at this. Why do you think about medicine? And 2 of my sisters were already studying or already completing medicine. And so I applied thinking, well, I don't feel that passionate about it, but I'll do it. And it wasn't actually and all the way through university, because like when people study medicine, they've always like, you talk to them and go, why are you doing this? And they've always got like a really dramatic story about either when they were really ill and then someone saved their lives and they want to do that for other people, or something like that in their family, or they've got a family of doctors. And I didn't have any of that. And going through medical school, I felt a bit like, do I really deserve to be here? Because then all these people are so passionate about it and I feel like I'm just going through the motions. And then it wasn't until I did my GP placement and I thought, oh, actually, this is quite good, because it's mainly just gossip, being a GP. You ask a lot of
I've
questions.
never heard it described like that before.
You can ask anything you want and they have to answer. So but like, and then you kind of move forward with obviously the management and things. But I quite like that. And then it took me a few years to settle into. My mum was not impressed when I wanted to be a GP. She wanted me to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. In fact, she still says that, and she always reminds me of my cousin who is a cardiothorac surgeon. And she goes, "Your cousin Arif, when he was a cardiothoracic surgeon, do you know how many marriage offers he got?" And I was like, "Probably had 12." And I went, "No." And she went, 12. And she went, "Do you know how many have come from you?" And I went, "No." She went, 0.
Oh, that is funny.
Anyway, but I in hindsight now, she was absolutely right, because I really like being a GP. I really like it, and I can't see myself being a vet or a cardiothoracic surgeon or anything now. I just really like working with a community.
You like working with
in
people.
The same place
yeah.
all the time.
I'm sure there's no way she could say you were a disappointment to her.
You'd be surprised. She ranks us in order of like our jobs in her preference. So like one of my sisters is an A&E consultant at the BRI. And you think she's her favourite, but my other sister is a colorectal surgeon, so she's at number 1, and then my A&E and then my dentist.
Hierarchy.
Yeah. So we know she stops introducing us.
Yeah,
to
you know where you
people
stand.
It was like child 4 or 5. She's like, these don't even bother with these lot.
Oh, so you started working at the surgery that you still are at now.
Yeah.
And we've got to know that community. How did the break into television come about?
Completely by random. So I had no plans to get into television. I just didn't think it was a realistic thing. So it never even entered my head. And then we got an email. Our practice manager got an email from Channel 5 for GPs behind closed doors. And this was in 2016, I think it was. And they were looking, they were filming, they were looking for a place to film their 6th series. And they'd filmed 4 in London and 1, I think, in Bath or Bristol, somewhere around kind of the southwest. And they were looking for somewhere up north. And obviously they're from London, so up north means all of England, doesn't it? And so they'd been to like Liverpool and Manchester and Newcastle. And then we were the last place they were coming to. And once we heard they'd been to those cities, we just thought, well, we can't really compete with those huge iconic cities as Bradford, but we'll entertain them. We'll ask them to come in and meet with us. And we knew, like, the minute this guy came in, he was called Jonathan. The minute he came in, we knew he was the guy from London, because he got the train up from London to Foster Square in Bradford. And then he had one of those like London trendy foldy up bikes that he'd ridden up to Great Horn, which he immediately regretted because Bradford drivers. And so he looked like he just looked as white as a sheet. And he also had open toe sandals on, which was a bit weird. And so
I'm assuming this was in the summer.
It was the summer. Yeah. It was the summer. But and he came and he was really nice, and he had a real passion for the NHS because his sister works in it. And he really said to us, we're here to really sell the NHS and general practice and community medicine. And one of our nurses made him a lemon drizzle cake, which I think is what won him over. And so we had an email like literally that same day after he'd met us all and he'd given us a speak and we'd shown him around the practice, the same day saying he wants to come to our practice and film it. And so that was that really. And so they came, there was a whole kind of group of them that descended on the practice because it's filmed over a year and it's 42 episodes. And so they completely transformed some of our surgery rooms. They'd like put all these cameras in, they put new lights in, and then they transformed our library into a room where they kind of watched us all and wrote everything down you say.
So it's like proper like fly on the wall.
Yeah, so everything happens just as it happens. They don't plan anything.
No, so we didn't change any of our clinics. They were all still set up the same. Wow. We didn't know who was being filmed and who wasn't because they consent all the patients outside and the patients just book in as normal. And then there's a group of very young people going out into the waiting room and saying, would you like to be filmed? Would you not? And then they just kind of come in, and because the microphones and the cameras are already set up, nobody has to have a microphone on or anything. So you just you have no idea. So you have to like bring your A game to every consultation.
Because you never know what they're going to use. Anything.
Exactly.
What was the most randomest thing that happened while you were filming? Then? What stands out in your mind?
Well, so they were there for such a long time. So we were really good friends with them by the end of it. And halfway through, I thought, you know what, this is going really well. It was in the summer. I thought, I'm just going to play a bit of a trick on them. So I told my friend Ish, who I was at university with, I said, just come in and pretend to be a patient. And we had a plan.
I love this already.
So Ish came in. It was a Friday. Ish came in the afternoon, and he sat down, and we'd both done GCSE drama, so he knew what he was doing. And he sat down, and he kind of looked a bit shifty. And one of the researchers went up to him and said, who are you here to see? And he went, I'm here to see Dr. Amir. And she said, well, he's being filmed today. Would you mind being filmed? And he put on a bit of a show, and he was like, no, it's a bit embarrassing. I don't want to be filmed. And she was like, but whatever it is, it might really help the nation. And so he reluctantly agreed, and in he came, and he came and he sat down, and I said, I'm Dr. Amir. We pretended we didn't know each other. I'm Dr. Amir. How can I help? And he went, well, it's a bit embarrassing. And I was like, well, don't worry. It's just between you and I. And the nation.
Yeah. the whole world.
And he said, well, I've just come back from Magaluf. And I was like, hang up. We know what happens there. So, and he said, and I've got this discharge down below. So I was like, don't worry, complete professional. Here's a urine bottle. Go and do a sample, and we can test for it. And so off he went, and he came back in with a urine sample, a fake urine sample. And I knew the cameras were watching, so I unscrewed the lid, and then I sniffed it. And then I drank it. And then I said, yeah, definitely chlamydia.
That is brilliant.
Has that ever been shown as an outtake?
Never.
Oh, wow.
I bet the crew were like, what the hell is going on?
The producer came down. She went, I don't want to tell you how to do your job or anything. She went, but is there a new way to test for chlamydia?
Did they know you were joking, or did they actually think?
I think they just
twigged in the end.
Well, I had to tell them.
Yeah.
So,
that's hilarious.
Fantastic.
So we had a really good time filming it. It was like something we'd never done before. It was just really fun for the whole surgery, and everybody was just excited.
That's brilliant. How did it evolve from that then to the stuff that you're doing now?
So after that, Channel 5 asked me to do a couple more shows. I did one with Gabby Roslin called The Science of Sleep, and then I did one with Ruth Langsford, who's amazing, called How to Lose Weight. And then Channel 5 were like, well, we'd like you to be our doctor. We'll keep you on here, and we'll offer you shows ad hoc. And I was like, well, whatever, because I've still got my GP job, and I'll just come down and do this in my annual leave. And so then I got an email from ITV Daytime. And, of course, I did that thing with Calendar as well.
Well, I was going to say, I am so disappointed it wasn't us that gave you your big break.
You were before Channel 5 offered me anything else.
I claimed that, didn't I?
You did.
Well, he used to come on Calendar, and that was the start of it.
Yeah, that was the start of everything.
Can I tell you something about that I've never told
Go
anyone?
on. Oh, my goodness.
I was thinking on the way today, shall I confess to this? And I thought,
my goodness.
This is a safe space.
Get it off my chest.
It's a safe space.
So this was before I did the Gabby Roslin and Ruth Langsford show. In between kind of GPs behind closed doors and anything else, Calendar called and said they were doing this. They wanted to do a veg patch in their garden, and they wanted to do this kind of. It was with John the Weatherman, who's iconic, and we wanted to show people how to grow veg and eat their own food and all health related stuff. And I had, at that point, I didn't have social media before GPs Behind Closed Doors, but during I kind of got it. And the only thing I really did at the time was go to work and then come back home and I'd just garden. And so they'd seen me in the garden, mainly just flowers, nothing edible. And when I got the call, they were like, we want to do this. How are you at growing veg? Never grown anything in my life. And I went, I'm amazing at it.
Oh my goodness. So we let you loose on our Calendar veg patch.
Yeah. You guys thought I was like an expert veg grower. I invested in books. And so I just bought loads of books and read how to grow carrots and onions and things.
That is so, we definitely thought you were the expert.
Fake it till you make it.
All standing there looking at this veg patch. Oh, they're amazing.
Onion seeds, you've got to put them 2 centimetres deep. Like, checking my poke before.
That is so funny.
Did everything grow?
Everything grew really well.
It grew so fast that we couldn't keep up with it. It was growing like mad. Then you got really busy.
Yes.
And I think a couple of people had to keep going. We kept sending our reporters out. Can you just go and weed that veg patch? Just so it doesn't look like a manic veg patch.
But it did. It grew really well.
It did.
We had chefs come in and they cut up the beetroot.
And we did something with Mama Khan because you filmed some of the veg, didn't you? Yeah.
I was just as surprised as anyone else when that veg grew. So,
that is
that's
hilarious.
My confession. But it all ended quite well because it grew.
It ended very well, but that was a great series. And then, because we always kind of claimed, that we discovered you, but you actually were on Channel 5 already.
But it had all gone quiet after GPs Behind Closed Doors, and then I did that.
Well, you see, I can honestly claim the credit for your amazing career.
I will always be grateful to ITV Calendar.
Oh, we loved having you as part of the Calendar family. It was lovely. And then we loved watching the success that you've gone on to since, because it really has blown up. I mean, especially in the last few years, hasn't it? I mean, that must have, obviously, the good thing is you've adapted to it so well. You're so natural on camera. You're very much who you are on camera that you are off camera. But how has it changed your life? Has it made a big difference to everything?
Well, yes and no, in that, I'm still working at the Ridge Medical Practice in Great Horton in Bradford. And I think it's definitely made my life, it's enriched my life and it's made it busier. And I've met people that I never thought I'd meet, and I'm doing things I never thought I'd do. And it's just added layers to my life that, again, just as a lad from Bradford, just minding his own business, I never thought would happen. But I'm so grateful for it. And I think with ITV, with daytime, because I got that email just saying, we're looking for someone to, and what they offered me originally was 10 appearances in a year, and it was just to cover Dr. Hillary's leave when he was on holiday, and so I went down. At first I thought the email was a joke, so I replied with, is this a joke? And then they came back and said no, and I went down to London and I got interviewed by some really lovely ladies, and then they offered me this position again on the spot, which was just incredible, and so I didn't really know what it involved at the time. So this was in 2019, just towards the end of 2019. So they said, we're probably looking at 10 to 12 appearances in a year. And I thought, well, I can manage that. And then COVID hit in March. And then it all just blew up because everything was medical related. And Hillary was on and off because, he was on for a lot of it. He was amazing. But then he just couldn't keep up with the evolving news. Yeah. And so I was on a lot more than I anticipated and they anticipated, and that went on for a year or 2 years, and I think it was that timing that really changed everything for me, because obviously nobody wants to talk about a pandemic, we all want to avoid it, but the information that was coming out every day was different and confusing as well, so interpreting it in a way that people understood and actually acknowledging, because it's one thing saying, well, this is what you do and don't do, but it's also acknowledging how it impacts people every day as well.
Definitely. And you were that safe voice that people wanted to listen to.
That's it. I think because you are so lovely on camera and you are who you are, you're a reassuring voice and someone people could trust with that health advice. Just sort of on another point, what do you now, looking back on the pandemic and how we reacted to it, with the lockdowns and the children staying at home, do you think the right approach was taken?
I think definitely there's lessons to be learned, because I wasn't just reporting on the pandemic, I was treating people during that time as well. So, we look after a number of care homes around where we are. And I remember so vividly having to get into my PPE and going to see people in these care homes who had COVID and then ringing their relatives from the car, giving them the update of it all. And I remember it just being really overwhelming. And then thinking, is it right that I'm the one who's telling these relatives about their loved ones about what's happening and they can't physically come in there. And it just felt wrong. And I would go home and I'd ring them back in the evening and just say, I'm just ringing to see how you are. And it was just so horrible. And I think that we all know it could have been done so much better. And it was hard, we were all thinking on our feet and being hit with all this new information. But I think that could have been done better. I think, we're going to pay the price for the schools closing for a long time to come. But I think there was lots of things that went well as well. The NHS coming together the way it did, people getting behind the NHS. I think that was really important as well. But no, I remember that. And then having to go in, I got quite emotional one time on Good Morning Britain describing my experience in care homes because it was just so raw. And these people in these care homes, I'd been looking after for years. I knew them really well, and so seeing them like that was quite hard.
And I think that was the thing that people related to as well, because we weren't allowed to go and visit our loved ones in care homes, and we were all so isolated. But you were on the front line, delivering that care and being able to then relay that to people to kind of reassure people, as well as share the truth, I guess, of what was going on at the time.
And I think that was different to perhaps other doctors who were on television. There were lots of people who were working in the NHS who were describing their experiences. But I guess I had a unique position in that I was doing these things and then going into the studio or doing or remotely, whatever was safe at the time. And I think that gave me a unique kind of outlook on it, which connected. But also, like, I was really free to disagree with some of the advice that was coming out, particularly around, don't get me wrong, the vaccines are really important, but forcing people to have the vaccines, I think was just a step too far from me. And so, I could say that and say, people should choose to have them and they definitely should, but you can't force anyone to have them. And so, those kind of things I was free to say. I think forcing anyone to have any medical treatment is a slippery slope.
And it became part of the narrative as well, didn't it? Where people weren't having the vaccine, but then they were even penalised for it because not being able to go on holiday, not being able to do things because of not having the vaccine.
There's safety issues around that, aren't they? There was reasons why they couldn't do it, and I think choosing not to have it and then dealing with the consequences, that's okay, I guess, in a way, because it's about the greater good. But forcing someone to have it, I think, was just where the red line was.
And I know now in the aftermath of it, there's a lot of they're looking into the long-term effects of the vaccine, because some people have had problems with long COVID and long-term effects. One of my friends has a bit of a problem, and they're looking into that with her. But also, I think the big impact was on the very young and the very old, wasn't it? Mentally.
Totally. And we're seeing that even now. We're seeing the effects of the mental health of young people, or people, of all ages, because that social isolation was such a huge difference to how we were living beforehand. And I think it's had long-term implications, not just for people's health, but people's behaviours as well, isn't it? People are happier to stay in now. People are happy to live in silos now with just their families, that less interaction with people. I think that going forward really spells disaster for communities and community cohesion. And we're seeing that as, on a larger scale, division within our country now that's taking place. And I wonder whether that would be as strong had it not been for that.
Exactly. I mean, I run a charity in Leeds called Out Together, which supports the LGBTQ plus community, specifically older people. And we've seen that after COVID, bringing people together. And some people are still so scared, even now, of going out in the community and coming out and physically meeting face to face. So we run a lot of stuff online as well. But it's having that lasting effect, I think. And like you said, I completely agree with what you're saying.
Like my mum's in her 80s, and her generation just stopped. Everything stopped for them, and it's never resumed. And that's often as well, mobility is a problem because they weren't moving. They've all. It's a lot of things.
Yeah, the physical health effects of not moving, not socialising, particularly in older age groups, because that can increase your risk of dementia, all sorts of things. So I think I'm a real strong believer in community and community cohesion and integration. And I think that's the answer to a lot of what's going on right now. And I think there's a real focus on individualism and what's best for you and what's best for your own and me time and all of this. And we've lost that idea of actually what's good for you is good for the community, and just get out there and really work with the community. And that's what I love about my job in general practice, because it is a community, and I think again, going back to the reason I wanted to do general practice was to work within a community and change that community for the better. And staying at that same practice was really important to me, because it's very easy for me to have moved somewhere else. But that's not what for me, what general practice is about.
Because you know everyone and you're part of that community.
Yeah, and they know me, and they knew my mum and dad. Well, they know my mum and they knew my dad, so they will, and they always ask, and they like bring things for my mum and say, can you give this to your mum or whatever. It's just really nice.
That's very grounding.
Yeah.
And it must be very grounding as well, because you are a celebrity now. There is no doubt. I know you don't think of yourself that way, but you are. You must get recognised wherever you go. I mean, have you got used to that yet?
I am so grateful to anyone who wants to come and talk to me, because first of all, I'm not that interesting. But secondly, like, if they've taken time out of their lives to come and say hello, I just love hearing about them as well. So when they come and talk to me, I'm just more interested in who they are. And so I can't, it never gets old, and it never gets boring, and it's never a nuisance. It's always such a lovely thing that someone might want to talk to me. They're more interested in my mum, to be honest. So like, I did have one person at King's Cross come up to me, they go, oh my God, are you Dr Amir? And I was like, yeah. She went, is your mum here? And I went, no. And then she just walked off. Or the other thing I get is, are you Dr Ranj?
Oh, yes.
All the time. Now I just say, yes, I am. And so I said, can we have a picture? My kids love you. So I'm like, yeah, come on. And so they take a picture of who they think I'm Dr Raj. And I can just imagine them going home and going, look, I met Dr Raj. And like, that's not Dr Raj.
Like, who is that man? Who is that imposter?
I really want to see that part.
It is.
I love
one
that.
of the good things is, I mean, you definitely are using your platform as well. You're very open about your views politically, and is that something that you're keen to continue? Because with that can come a backlash, can't it?
Yeah, I've definitely felt that backlash on a number of things. I've got very strong views, and I think that comes with growing up very working class, and the system is almost rigged against the social deprivation that people live in now, and the continuity of that, and how things don't seem to be getting better for people. And I think when you work your way out of that, you can see the system almost like, from above, and you can just go, God, this is so hard for people living how I used to live and grew up as. And it's so hard for them to move up that social ladder. And you hear all these terms all the time, like, oh, we're gonna invest in the north, and we're gonna all this stuff that never happens. It does it. And so I get really cross with it, to be honest, because I know how difficult it is for those people. And so I'm very happy. Not happy. I wish I didn't have to do it, but I feel like I've been given this platform, so I'm really, I can talk politics. I feel like my views are valid and they represent people, and it doesn't represent everyone, of course. And I think it's really important for me to stand up against the rising tide of racism right now, for trans people. And I do a lot of things around green spaces and nature and climate change, because, again, you're perhaps not here in the UK, but the poorest people are going to be affected by these things across the world. And so equality, and this is the thing I just don't get, why people are so against equality. Like, that's what everybody wants, and access to services that have been cut. I'm so sick of, I'm not going on a soapbox now, but I'm so sick of poor people having to pay the price every single time there's a cut. And it never affects those at the top, because they will always get away with it. And I see it in the communities I serve. I see it in their health. I see it right across the board. And so when you're that embedded in it, I think it's really hard for me to not talk about it. I get into trouble all the time.
But it's great. It's so great that you do, and you use your platform to be able to talk about these things. So I think people don't, and people let things just slide.
People can be scared, can't they? Getting cancelled or getting trolled and having to deal with that.
I am in a lucky position in that I have got a GP job which I can fall back on should I get into too much trouble and everything else gets taken away. So I do feel like, that I am in a really fortunate position from that point of view. But I just think I wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about it.
Sounds like you've got a lot of Mama Khan in you. She was a bit of a campaigner. Yeah.
You're a man of the people. A man of the people. Saying it how it is.
I don't want to say like man of people because it sounds a bit like, I don't know, it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But I'm from that group of people. I grew up exactly there. Yeah. I know what it's like to not be able to have food. I know what it's like to not put the heating on. I know what it's like, I tell you what, it really opened my eyes to this. So I was really lucky when I got a scholarship to Bradford Grammar School. I was so lucky. That is the starkest difference I've seen between a poor person and a rich person. Going into that school, amazing school. It has done everything for me. Could never have afforded it otherwise. But when you see people, and they were all great lads, but my stuff was just awful compared to them. And as a kid, you kind of really realize that, and those are really informative years for me between the ages of 11 and 18. Seeing that difference between what I had and what they had, and no shade to them, it's just a real stark difference. Really hammered it home for me, I think.
Gosh. Yeah. The other way that you use your platform is to teach the nation about good health. Yeah. And you're very strongly a believer in preventative health, preventative medicine in a sense, living well. Yeah. And you will sit and tell us what we should be doing in a very lovely, relatable way. Even you'll even sit on the toilet and talk about bowel issues. I've seen you there. Yeah, luckily. Why is that so important to you that you can educate?
Well, I think because working in the NHS, it feels like you're firefighting all the time. You're having to deal with the acute stuff that comes in, and you never really get to the point where you're focusing on wellness and longevity. I think that is where we need the NHS to go once we've dealt with all this backlog, but that backlog is just huge. So I think, I'm doing that firefighting at work every single day, but actually what we need to do to try and stop this backlog from getting bigger is make people live well. But I don't want to do it. I always think, like, you see all these like wellness people, don't you, online and stuff, and you just think, well, all of that is so not relatable to anyone that I know. So let's make it really, really relatable. For example, when the NHS says you need to be doing 30 minutes of exercise 5 times a week, if I say that to one of my patients who's working 2 jobs, getting kids off to school and blah, 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 it's just not relatable to them. So what I talk about is, right, any movement is good movement. What can you fit into your day? Even if it's 5 minutes of dancing to your favorite song, that's good movement. Because if people can't hit targets, they'll just stop doing it completely. So getting them to engage in it. And then these things like, again, portions of fruit and veg every day, or 30 plant points a week, all of those stuff is very middle class to me. So I think, how can I make this applicable to people? So just say, you know what, adding a bit of spice to your food. Spice is a plant. That's a plant point. Just think about what one change you can make over time that you're going to sustain. Don't go crazy and do something for a short period of time and then not sustain it. And really simple things like, everybody wants more sleep, isn't it? And it's free if you can make it work. So talking to people about, actually, if you can't improve the length of time you're sleeping, let's talk about the quality of the sleep that you're getting and how that can actually have such a massive benefit on your health. So I think making it really accessible is the key.
I love
message.
That. Yeah. And I think it is, and just educating people on that and not making it complicated. Yeah. And making it easy and accessible, like you said.
Well, that's it as well. People will look at it and say, well, Dr Amir said I don't have to do it that way. I can walk for 5 minutes here, there and everywhere, and it adds up to the 30 minutes. And I've just got to maybe walk a little bit further every day than I normally would or something. Yeah,
totally. And I think that's so important, because I've seen, one of my specialist interests is diabetes, and so much of what happens in people's life affects their blood sugars. And so, and we know things like living in poverty affects obesity levels, affects insulin resistance and blah, 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 blah. So if I used to just give them this pack that said you have to eat this and you have to do this and blah, 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 blah. And like none of them did it, and their blood sugars just stayed really high. But actually engaging with them, you learn really early on, you tell me what you can do rather than me telling you, makes such a big difference. And so, I think that has really helped me in terms terms of communicating online as well, because it just gives you a bigger platform to do, actually, this is what my patients are telling me they can do. So maybe I should just tell people, actually, this is what's achievable. Why don't you try this instead?
Yeah. No, it sounds, it's just basic, simple advice, isn't it? But you get such a big engagement on social media that, just by saying this, a lot of people are going to see that, aren't they? Which is great.
Yeah, and I don't shy away from topics as well. We talk about vaginas and vulvas and all that kind of stuff, because all those words have kind of been labelled as forbidden or dirty or whatever. Like when I did a whole post on vulval cancer, the vulva is the whole outside part of the female genital tract. Loads of women told me they didn't even know they could get cancer in their vulva. Lots of women told me they didn't even check their vulva regularly. And so I was like, if you're postmenopausal, you need to be checking your vulva as much as you're checking your breasts once a month. Yeah. So those kind of things are really important.
Yeah.
It's about educating and just making things not taboo anymore, and just being real about it.
Totally.
And people relate to that, don't they?
Yeah. Now, you're with ITV. Yes. Are you exclusive with ITV, or have you got other things in the pipeline? Or
I am kind of exclusive with ITV. I've got quite an ironclad contract, which kind of not stops me, but I have to discuss if I'm going to be on another channel or particular shows on other channels as well. So there's lots of things I can't do as a result. And a lot of it is about maintaining my credibility as a GP and a professional, because they don't want me to do, I don't know, something that might jeopardize that. But within that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, they do offer me shows on ITV as well, and like reality shows on ITV.
Like I'm a Celeb.
I have been offered I'm a Celeb, but I turned it down. Because I'm an animal rights activist, and I can't go on a show that treats animals like it does. No amount of fame is worth that.
No. Well, that's good. That's good.
I was going to say that if you can't go to the other side, so you couldn't do Strictly.
No, well, I've never been offered Strictly. I think that if I ever was, I'd love to do it. I would have that discussion with ITV. I think
you'd be ITV, brilliant.
Well,
especially with your dancing, your history of dancing.
There's two moves I can do. I can grind and I can do Bangra. I don't know. If there's like a week of grinding, I can do that.
A week of
they need to introduce it. There needs to be a grinder week.
Never mind movie week. We'll have grinding week.
You'll be good at that. You'll be good.
Oh, would I?
Yeah.
I'm worried what you think of me, Matt. I'm really concerned about this. I've got to confess to drinking too much wine. Now I think I'll be good at grinding.
Stick on a bit of Rihanna. You'll be fine, Christine.
Brilliant.
Have you got any plans coming up? What's next for you?
So I'm doing my own podcast as well, which is out at the moment, called No Appointment Necessary, which is doing really well. We're consistently... touch wood, we're in the top 20 in the Apple charts quite a lot. We're the number one health and fitness podcast, so that's great. I'm doing a cookbook with my mum, which is taking a lot longer than I anticipated, because trying to get recipes from my mum and quantities of things going into recipes is like mission impossible. She's just like throws things in because she's been doing it for so long, and I'm just like, Mum, but I need it in grams.
Yeah. She has to go back and measure what she's.
I know. Like just pretend you're putting it into a pot and put it on this weighing scale. She gets so annoyed with me, honestly, and I think she's getting really frustrated with the whole process. So there's that, and I've just finished filming a new show for Channel 5 called How to Boost Your Brain, which is all about how to keep your brain young as you get older, or healthier as you get older. And I spoke to some incredible neurologist and neuroscientist for that. So amazing.
How do you do that? Is it keeping the learning a language or something like that?
So learning a language. So I'll tell you one of the myths that I was really disappointed with. Like, doing puzzles is actually not actually that great for your brain. So all this Wordle stuff and all these things. You think it's
my mum does everything. She's got her iPad and she's doing all these things.
My mum does.
Yeah, thinking it's helping.
You will get good at that particular task, but it doesn't involve getting your brain younger. What you need to do is kind of use different parts of your brain all at the same time. So learning a language does that. Learning a new instrument does it. And I thought, well, again, that to me is really inaccessible for a lot of people. I said, give me some simple tips that actually help with your brain. And one thing that actually uses a lot of your brain at the same time is cooking a recipe from scratch that you haven't done before, because you're reading, you're measuring, and you're doing things and producing things.
Wow.
So that's a really simple thing I think people can do. Exercise is huge as well. There's a part of your brain called the hippocampus that grows new brain cells. And exercise, particularly strength training, is really good for growing new brain cells. And then we talk about all the different foods as well that really reduce your risk of Alzheimer's dementia. So it's really fascinating.
So interesting.
That I will be watching that series.
definitely.
How to boost your brain.
Oh, I can't wait. When's that coming out?
Early next year, hopefully in January.
Brilliant.
You never know, do you? You finish filming these and then you
I
just
know,
never
it's
know
in the
what's gonna
hands of
happen.
somebody else, isn't it? I know, it
And then
definitely
I've
is.
got another show with channel ITV that I don't think I can say too much about, but that'll be out next year as well.
So exciting.
yeah.
Are you enjoying
What's
your
going
life
on?
at the moment?
Yeah, you know what? I've kind of got into that mindset of just say yes to everything, because you never know when it's going to stop, right? So you just say yes to everything, because there will always be someone else coming in through the years that'll be the new person, and that's fine. That's how I did it. So I'm just saying yes to everything now.
I don't think anyone's ever going to tire of you. I definitely don't. I don't.
That's
And
brilliant.
who's your best celebrity friend now?
Oh my God. What do I say? Let me think. Christine Lampard, I would say. Christine Lampard is the most fun person in the whole world. She knows how to party. She knows all the best places in London. Obviously, I don't really go out in London ever until I'm alone, but Christine Lampard gets you in everywhere. And she knows every famous person as well. So yeah, I think she's like
She's a new bestie.
Yeah, she's my new bestie. And she's properly genuine. I think being Irish and from Belfast.
No, she seems a lovely lady.
Yeah,
she does seem
is.
lovely. Now, we ask our guests to bring two things onto our podcast. One is something that says Yorkshire to you. So what have you brought in, Amir?
So I have got a picture that's up in our house, and it's a bit of a random picture, but it's a picture which I loved. I bought it from a shop in Otley. And it's a picture of some sheep in the snow in Denton, which is in between kind of Ilkley and Otley.
Oh, it's a lovely picture.
It is. It's gorgeous.
And it's kind of got writing by the photographer down there. But what I love about it, and why it reminds me of Yorkshire, is the landscape, first of all, the weather. And actually, it's kind of the sky more than anything, which I love. Because
Hold it up to our camera, then it can see it. No, so yeah.
Because I always think, you just never know what the weather's going to do, right, in Yorkshire. And I think this picture kind of encapsulates that, because they always say if it's raining, it'll stop soon, or if it's not raining, it's going to rain soon. And I think that just captures all of that, and the great outdoors of Yorkshire.
Yeah, it's got that slight could it rain or could it be sunny feel about it. And I love the snow.
sheet. I love the sheet. They're literally all looking dead in the camera as well.
I love this picture
like that
so
as
much.
well.
It really and kind of Ilkley and Otley are my stomping grounds, so that's where I would go for my shopping or out for lunch and that kind of thing. So this kind of is so local to me.
So that's home.
Yeah.
Is it a photograph or is it a painting?
photograph.
Is it a painting?
Yeah, it's a photograph.
It could be either.
Wow.
couldn't
Yeah,
it?
it could be either. It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And you can see the sun. There's just like, it's like evening time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
It could
little
be
bit of
a summer's
sun.
evening, but there's frost on the ground.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
it
it's
looks like
definitely
a
winter,
winter's time.
And winter is my my favorite time of year. It's by a photographer called Penny Paisley, and she's Yorkshire as well. And I just think it's great. And there's only 50 of these photographs of this particular photograph around, so I thought it's just
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Oh, lovely. And
we also ask something that means something to you, something that's really special to you, Amir. So what have you brought in for us?
Right, I brought this in, which is a jar which is nearly empty of my mum's mixed spices. And so this is like when I'm cooking, rather than add all the different spices like one at a time, she's made this mix up.
So it's like a super spice.
Yeah.
Super
so
spice.
It's the only spice you need when you're cooking a curry. You just put this
Shove it in.
and it's done. So honestly, I go through like a jar of this a month, but it is so tasty. You add it to any curry and it just like lifts.
now
it.
I see a marketing opportunity there. Mama Khan's mixed spice.
True.
Yes.
True. Because whenever I cook for my mum, whenever she comes to our house, like, first of all, I would never dream of cooking a curry for my mum, because it is like, there's just no point, because hers are always a million times better. So I will cook like what she calls English food. And so, so like at one time I cooked like, 'cause obviously I'm trying to be healthy. I'm a doctor. And so I'm like, we never like for our family when we were growing up, like obviously we'd have a big curry most nights, and like my mum would like chop up a little salad and it would be like a little side thing. So I'm trying to I never knew until I went to university that salads could be a main meal, because it's just never featured in my life. It's always like on the side of something. So now I'm trying to cook all these like huge fancy salads with loads of things in. And my mum came over to my house and I was like, right, she was like, what are we having for lunch? I said, Mum, I've made this amazing salad. You're going to love it. It's got halloumi in it. It's got chickpeas in it. It's amazing. And she just looked at it. She went, but where's the rest of the lunch? And I went, no, this is the lunch. This is what we're having. And she rang my sister up to pick her up.
No.
Take her out for lunch.
Oh, that is so funny. Because it doesn't count as a meal.
It just doesn't
That's
count as a
a
meal.
lovely thing, but also made by your mum.
It is.
So it's something special in that way.
And my mum doesn't make anything like in small quantities. So for this, she'll just make like huge vats of it. When my friends came from university to my mum's house for dinner once, like they were really surprised by the size of her pots, because each one is huge, and they're like, you can bath a baby in these pots. So like she just makes food when she's making food, because my mum's house is like an open house on our street, so people will come and go all the time, which is where that community I think really comes from. And so whenever you go to my mum's house, no matter what time of day it is, there's always food there
on the go,
the go, and it's always so delicious. And like you can come and you're like, after a day's work, and I'm like, Mum, what's for dinner? And she's just made you, like, she knows you're coming, and like there's always like 3 different options. It's so good.
She sounds wonderful. I mean, I'd love to meet her. Like you say, everyone wants to come over one day.
The weatherman came and he had the curry.
Yes, he did. You did. Yeah, I'd love to. And does she do one of these for all of the family? Do they all have a little jar?
Got them. Yeah.
She's lovely, and it's so lovely to chat to you and find out a little bit more about your life, because we see so much of you, on the television, but you're usually talking health.
Yeah.
But finding out about your life as well has been absolutely lovely.
I really enjoyed it.
Thank you
so
good.
much.
It's been brilliant. It really has been lovely to meet, and thank you for sharing some of these fun stories. I'm always going to remember the drinking the wee out the vial. That's brilliant. I love it.
I've still not got over the fact you knew nothing about vegetable patches.
Neither have I.
Oh, it's been as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. We love chatting to you. And thank you for coming into Yorkshire Talks.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Yeah,
can't wait for the new series as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be that one. I will be recording.
Definitely.
So that's just about it from the two of us for this episode.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time on Yorkshire Talks.
See you then.